Hello and welcome to this Taking Off podcast. I'm Dan. We've got Christy here. We're going to have a little bit of fun and just relax a little bit on this Taking Off podcast. Okay, welcome. I'm Dan Milliken.
And I'm Christy Wong.
All right, Christy, we've got a lot of things going on. We're into the summer now. We've got Air Venture coming around the corner. We're going to be there. We're going to be saying hi to people. Plus, we are going to be doing our on location in the hangar episodes.
Yes.
And that was a lot of fun last year.
Yes, that's what I was told. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah,
I remember being ambushed.
Oh, yeah, we did ambush you. What was the ambush? Let me think here. Was something about you like jumping out of a perfectly good airplane?
I've been bamboozled into agreeing to jump out of an airplane once we hit 100,000 subscribers, which is coming up, by the way.
Yeah, it's we had a really big surge at the beginning of the year. Sure would like to get another big surge so that we could make it by the end of the year.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I will say you've got a few people who have commented that if Christy doesn't want to jump, we shouldn't make her. But
Thank you.
But I still think you should jump.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love it.
Okay, we'll see.
So what we're gonna do today, just have some fun. We reached out. I texted our friend Bryan Turner, who has no clue we're doing a podcast right now.
None.
So I'm gonna try to call him. I'm gonna see if he'll pick up, and let's do some ambushing of our own on him.
I like this idea.
Okay. Now he's recently, a while back, he did a video about the cost ownership of an airplane, and pretty much just said that only guys can afford it, right?
No, what he said was that this one's for the guys. Like, don't tell your wives if you're, that it's going to cost us much to own an airplane, yada, yada. So being a female airplane owner, I have a bone to pick with him.
Okay, let's try it. Okay, so I don't know what we're going to get here, but I'm going to try to call him right now and see what happens.
Okay.
Let's see if he picks up.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, got something kind of serious. Christy has a bone to pick with you.
Really?
Hey.
What's going on?
He's like, really? What'd I do? I watched the video that you recently put out. Something about guys owning airplanes, and this one's for the boys, and 100% of your viewership is.
Hey, you know what? I read my analytics.
Well, apparently Christy takes exception to you saying that only guys own airplanes, which is basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah, Bryan.
I literally said if you're a woman and you want to buy a plane, no guy's going to stop you. You don't have this problem. If you paid attention.
Oh, we have to pay attention to his videos?
Wait a minute.
When does that start?
I did not know. Bryan, we'd like to welcome you on the podcast.
I sat there and I wondered. I was like, why are both of them talking to me at the same time? Like, there's a microphone somewhere.
Oh, see, I thought for sure you'd be able to tell by the nice audio basedness of everything. But does it sound normal to you?
There is something about it that I can't put my finger on that is different.
Well, put your finger on it, because we decided to ambush you on the podcast today. What's up?
Not a whole lot. Just sitting here taking practice written tests for my commercial.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Are you on pace to take that check ride in about 2025?
No, honestly, I should have it done before Oshkosh.
Oh, really? That's fast.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a silly rating. Like, I'm going through it. Like, none of this stuff.
I tried to tell you that. It's so...
The commercial is a silly rating?
Well,
It is. I went up with an instructor, and he had me do all these maneuvers, and he's like, I think you're really check ride ready. Just go out and practice. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, but again, I've been flying for 10 years. I know how to fly a plane. But then I'm like, it's like, why this stuff is considered commercial? Like, you're ever on Spirit Airlines and they're, eight's on pylons time, boys. You
know what? I used to think the same thing. And when I became an instructor, what I realized is it's about energy management. it's really controlling the airplane. So the private is like, hey, I can fly an airplane good enough to not get killed, we hope.
Yeah.
The instrument is, hey, previously I learned how to avoid the weather, but now I'm going to learn to fly with the weather. And the commercial is fine-tuning those private pilot maneuvers effectively and really honing in on your energy management.
Well, and to me, I think it's the commercial is learning to become precise, because as pilots, we really need to be precise. And I do commercial flying. I do air-to-ground aerials every month for a client. I'm doing steep turns. And I need to hold the altitude, and I need to do a whole bunch of different things that are in that check ride. So to me, it's not silly.
That's a good point, because when I think of commercial, though, I think of hopping on Southwest and going to 500 miles away. For aerial photography, pipeline, all that kind of stuff. It makes sense. These pipeline guys that are zigzagging.
If you get a commercial pilot's license, you cannot go into the cockpit of Spirit and fly.
No.
You have to get an ATP.
Legally.
So, well, yeah.
Right.
Unless you steal it.
Well, that's the way it is now, but it didn't always used to be that way. First officers, back before 2013, first officers could be hired, with a commercial multi-certificate, and you had to have a minimum, obviously, of 250 hours, but oftentimes you had to have 2,000 or more hours to be more competitive. But either way, that the commercial certificate, although it does seem silly when you first go into it, it's like the 1,500 hour rule. People are like, oh, it's so silly. But then when you finally get there and then you start flying the bigger jets, you kind of realize, oh, okay, this does serve a purpose.
Yeah, and the Chandelle, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been flying in a canyon and needed to get out.
I was waiting for this.
Boxed in.
If you don't think I'm doing Chandelles in the 175, no, I'm just kidding. I do not.
The Cessna 175?
No. That's the only 175 I'm doing Chandelles in.
So,
I would say it's fun though. It's fun flying. Like people who ahead of time were like, oh, you're gonna hate this, and you're gonna hate that part. And like the 8s on pylons is actually probably my favorite. The only thing I don't like about it is I'm scared I'm gonna have a bird strike because you're so low to the ground. But the maneuvers are fun, and it's actually I've done like 6 or 7 flights now, and I'm feeling way more confident flying my plane than I have up to this point, because I'll go power on stall that thing, falling leaf it all the way to the ground now, and it doesn't raise my blood pressure anymore. So that's a huge actual benefit of doing this
huge
stuff.
I used to I would take Bryan up for his flight review. Like, seriously, when we actually did his flight review, I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and get into some slow flight and we'll do a power off stall. And he was like, do I have to?
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I never liked that stuff, but it's like now it doesn't bug me.
See, the power off stalls never bought. Well, okay. When I was a baby pilot, like a student pilot, they really did bother me.
I have footage of you going, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this.
Yeah, I did not want to do that.
We need to see that footage, Dan, just for my own ego.
Well, now power off stalls are like nothing to me. I'm like, I go out there, I'm like.
In the 175?
No, well, we actually, hold on, you joke, but in the simulator, when we do our training, our recurrent training every year, we have to stall the airplane in the simulator. We're not actually stalling it. Fun fact, I have stalled an actual jet before on purpose, which most pilots do not get to do. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so after I got furloughed, I was doing some corporate contract flying, and they were helping me get my second in command rating on a couple of the jets, so that I would be more insurable for them. And we got to go up. It was in a citation, actually. We went out and we just did maneuvers. I did maneuvers in the Lear 45 as well. We actually went out. We did steep turns and slow flight and go arounds and
power off 180s.
No, we didn't do that, but because every landing in the jet is an accuracy landing. But we did go up, and so went out over the New Mexico desert and put the airplane into a stall, like a power off stall. And it's exactly like doing a falling leaf stall in the Warrior. It just buffets and she kind of oscillates down a little bit, but that was really it. And obviously,
I would assume the recovery would take longer because don't those engines take a lot more time to spool up than the prop?
Right. And that's funny because we actually had this conversation earlier about power inputs when we recorded another podcast. But what do you do? How do you recover from a power off stall?
I let go of the yoke.
Yeah, put the nose down. And that's exactly how we recovered in the jet is you put the nose down, you gain some airspeed. Because remember, it's the same across any aircraft platform. Pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. So if you want to increase your airspeed, what do? You pitch. And then you power to climb out of it.
Right.
So that's exactly what we did. And that was fun. We also did emergency descents. And that was wild. Because I've done that in the simulator. And that's crazy because the simulator really does it full on simulates, but you don't get the same G forces and stuff. And when we did the emergency descents in the citation, oh mama, that was insane.
For those who may not understand, why would you do an emergency descent and what is it?
You're on fire and you need to get down or loss of pressurization. So now you don't have, oxygen and maybe you have a failure of the oxygen system. But honestly, the emergency descent is for you're on fire and we don't want to be a Swiss Air 111. We need to get down on the ground right now. That's another podcast we could do.
Swiss, yeah. All right. So, Bryan, what's your favorite commercial maneuver to practice?
You know what? It's so funny because going into this, my answer would have been guessed completely different. I love the Power Off 180s.
Yeah,
I think it's so stinking cool.
Yeah,
that's my favorite. Have you nailed
one
yet?
Dude, there's something. It's every single one of them. Like I went into this thinking I'm not going to be able. Like seriously, I'm not a confident pilot. I went into this thinking this is going to take me twice as long as everybody else. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm a sloppy pilot, and like, dude, out of the gate, like this guy's like literally was this. He's like, yeah, you know what you're doing, and I'm like, no. This is all luck. Let's do it again. And so I may not believe I am, but I think I'm a good sort of fly by feel kind of pilot.
Right.
Like I couldn't tell you the numbers and quote the math and do all that kind of stuff, but I can kind of feel what the plane's doing. And I think I have some pretty good intuition. And I think that's benefiting me.
That's what being a commercial pilot is. You literally become one with the airplane. I'm not joking. You really do.
I think I have that skill a little bit, but my fear is like someone's going to have, in the middle of a flight, pull out an E6B and have me calculate something. I'm going to just roll it into the ground at that point and be like, I can't help you with actual data.
Bryan, as your instrument instructor, the thing I'll tell you about you is that you have imposter syndrome big time. You're like,
you can smell it on me from a mile away.
Absolutely.
When I walk into a room.
But I would never have signed off on you for your check ride if I didn't have full confidence in you. And it's so funny. So I have gotten calls from people asking me, did you and Bryan have a falling out? And I was like, wait, why? They're like, aren't you, what happened? I thought you were going to be his instructor for commercial.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, okay. Well, no, we didn't have a falling out. I talk to Bryan like every week, and we.
Yeah, Bryan told me that there was no way he was going to have Christy be his instructor.
Never stepping in a plane with that woman again. She made me stall this thing.
No, it's just with my airline schedule and everything, like we were having a hard time matching up our schedules. And so I told Bryan, hey, I'll do ancillary flying with you. I'll do check ride prep with you, et cetera. But I didn't want him to have to count on me and only get to fly once every 2 weeks, which is why he's flying with this other instructor. But we do still fly together. We are still good friends. I want everybody to know.
Yeah, and my plane's broken right now.
What
and
did
the
you
piece
do
is
to
supposed to fix it.
He's been spitting fuel all over his landing gear, thinking that's a way to clean it or something.
I saw him spitting money at it, and I was like, something's going to get jammed in there.
We are really, no kidding, lucky to be alive, or not alive, but not an insurance claim with the plane out in the field somewhere.
What happened?
One of my fuel lines busted in flight. The primary fuel, the only fuel line that brings fuel, busted in flight on our way from Broken Bow, Oklahoma. And so it's just spewing fuel everywhere, which one is a fire hazard, but two, I had my mechanic look at it and he goes, I don't know how your engine stayed running. He's like, the line's separated. He's like literally fuel's just falling out, and because the engine's sucking it in, it's getting drawn. He goes, I don't get it. And I was like, I don't even know enough to know what I'm looking at, but your concern's making me concerned. And so I've got this, I'll send you pictures of it. I got these two pieces that basically just sheared off.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if it was, I have no idea, but he was trying to explain. The more he explained to me how this works and what was wrong, the more I was like, I didn't even realize, I would have gotten back up and flown again, other than I could, fuel in my tire was blue.
Oh my gosh. Physics is wild.
For $60, it is. So I got, $60 in parts that are arriving in the mail that are going to make this not a problem anymore. But now I'm like, what other 60-year-old piece of aluminum on my planes?
It was those Power Off 180s. Yeah.
Well,
I know we were doing.
The crazy thing in that situation is if you had let's say the engine had quit running, you wouldn't have known that it was fuel. You would have been messing around trying different things.
He'd have been turning on the fuel pump.
Yeah, I've got
That's true. Like I mean, I guess the best news is I've just been doing engine out stuff for the last month, so it's primed my reaction to that type of stuff. But I would have no idea, and then I probably would, if I put it in the field, I would have been like, yeah, when we landed, we probably snapped that fuel. Like, I don't know how people figure out what causes what.
Well, I guess the one clue was that you were smelling fuel in flight.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, 2 flights now. So my first flight with a new instructor, we got up and he goes, do you smell fuel? And I said, yeah, I kind of always do though. And he goes, is it always this strong? And I said, I don't think so. And so we landed and we looked at it and we crawled all around underneath the plane and the cowl and the engine, and we couldn't find any leaks, any fuel. Everything was bone dry. And I had a little bit of fuel.
The blue landing gear didn't give it away.
No,
it's always blue.
But I'll tell you, we had topped off the tanks, and I had blue streaks on the top of my wing, which is not abnormal when you fill a tank all the way up to the top. So I was like, well, maybe I'm smelling this. And so we found a way to justify it, but there's no way if we saw fuel inside the cowl, we would have tried to follow it and figured it out. But so we took back off and flew home. And then I did that flight with my wife, and same conversation. Do you smell fuel? And I asked her, I go, do you smell that? And she goes, yeah. I go, it seems really strong to me. And she's like, it does me too. And so the only thing I noticed was we were in cruise and I was still full rich. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just sending too much fuel and it's coming out the exhaust and this plane's full of holes and it's sucking vapor. You try to justify it. And then we landed, I started to go home, and I'm putting the plane away, and I said, hey, I'm going to take you home. I'm going to come back up here because that landing gear's not supposed to be blue like that. And so that's when I got on my phone and FaceTime with my mechanic, and he was like, holy crap, Turner.
You're lucky to be alive.
Like, yeah, we didn't say that. We said you're lucky you're not in the field somewhere.
Yeah.
We have confidence that I would have been okay.
I do too. I have confidence in you. I don't think it would have been a life and death thing, but it definitely would have been an insurance claim thing.
I'm lucky that, that you would have been in a field 6 feet under somewhere. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I will say, since you're giving me airtime, so starting this Friday, I'm vlogging my commercial training and it is? Okay. I'm starting my vlog on my commercial training, and I lead with, I'm using multiple instructors for this, and at some point I do want to go up with you, Christy, and capture some of that as well.
Yeah, we definitely need to. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so that's your training. We've got AirVenture coming up. What are your plans this year?
It's variable at this point. I'm going to leave my house on Friday and fly to, I can't remember the airport, but it's where the rock on the ramp thing is. That's the sort of a pre-game warm-up for AirVenture I haven't done before. A lot of people go to that one. I'm looking forward to it. They got live bands.
I've never heard of that.
It's called Rock the Ramp. And that's where, so last year, that's where the Padies and the low and slow to Oshkosh guys, Corey, Robin, Trent, all those guys go to that one. And then the following day, the Saturday, I'm going to get up and I'm probably going to go do Wings Over Whiteside and then fly into Oshkosh Sunday. My wife is going to join me on Tuesday. She's going to come in late Tuesday night. And so she'll be there all day Wednesday, all day Thursday. Thursday, I have a friend flying in. And then Friday, we're all going to fly home. So making a week out of it and bringing some, a childhood friend of mine that I've known for, since I was a baby.
You going to carry an extra ferry tank maybe inside the plane to be able to wash the landing gear as you fly?
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on how much you joke. It's a fantastic solvent. I do wash my plane with avgas.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It cuts grease really well.
Well, you can clean the belly of a plane with some fuel.
Don't tell the EPA.
All right, so and then we'll probably try to do the YouTubers meet and greet on Monday. We're tape delaying this podcast, so probably by the time this actually airs, we'll have established the exact time and place and everything. But I think it'll be very similar to last year. We'll have, although I probably won't try to have 19 people talk.
Okay. Well, and speaking of imposter syndrome, I chickened out and backed out of being the guest speaker for COPA this year.
Probably.
Oh, really?
They invited me to be their guest speaker at their dinner. Like, we just need you to fill 20 minutes. And I was like, let me tell you a little bit about me. And then they said, well, why don't you just come out and have a beer with us? And I said, I'll do that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not talking in front of people.
That's the Cirrus owners?
Yeah.
They have Banshee owners. All the planes
Yeah,
start
right.
with
Convention
our
owners, I
Cessna
probably do.
owners.
Yeah, no, it's the it's the Cirrus one.
Who gets to be
They have
Copa?
the.
Cirrus Owners Pilots Association.
Not Cessna Owner
That's
Pilot
right.
Association and not
Comanche or
owner,
Cherokee.
or Cherokee owner
Oh, it
pilot.
fits.
There's so many. Copas.
Interesting.
Oh.
All right,
Although the Cherokee one would be Chopa.
Chopa.
I'm just kidding.
Chopa.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so hopefully we'll see everybody at AirVenture. You know, you fly in for the planes, stay for the people.
Yeah, that's about right.
And okay, well, Bryan, thanks for letting us call you in on our podcast.
Thank you for letting us ambush you.
Thank you for blindsiding me with that.
All right, if you guys haven't seen Bryan's channel, it's probably a good thing, and won't give a link. No,
Takingoff.com
right.
or youtube.com/takingoff.
no, YouTube at.
And I know it's
Just
time
Plain
delayed, so this
Silly.
doesn't matter. But yeah, this Sunday, my video is sending things that are not actually oil to Blackstone for analysis and judging their responses.
Oh my God.
Are you really doing that?
So here, I called talked to Josh Flowers today. I go, hey Josh, I'm doing this video where I'm going to send other things, other liquid samples to Blackstone. But I go, the premise is I want to send this stuff, but I don't want to jeopardize my actual analysis, so I'm going to use your tail number. And he said, go for it.
All right.
I have a friend that works at Blackstone. I don't know if I should give her a heads up.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not well. I debated actually mailing them stuff, but I don't want to waste anyone's time. So I'm going to simulate sending this stuff off.
No, I mean, I legitimately have a friend who does the analyses. If you want me to hook you up with that.
You ought to, Bryan.
I don't think your friend wants my urine sample.
Oh, no.
Okay, never mind.
I think it's better just to pretend versus to actually follow through with the joke.
Probably. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well,
So that's going to be
on that note.
Please see a doctor ASAP. That's what it's going to come back as.
Yes, Mr. Flowers, your vitamin B is low.
And we're picking up some chrome.
I got to buy some glitter on the way home.
All right.
We found a lot of metal.
All right. We have sunk to new lows. And
This is what you guys get for ambushing me.
all right. Thank you guys out there for watching. I actually have the 360 video running today for one of the first times here in our beautiful podcast studios, which
You know,
is
he
my
did
office.
ambush me with a urine thing one time.
Yes, yeah, the
So
peeing. How do you pee on a plane?
this is not the first time that
Yeah.
this has come up.
It's a recurring theme.
It's a recurring theme with Bryan. So, all right, make sure you check out his channel, Just Plain Silly, and we'll see you guys next time on Taking Off Podcast.